10 days from now, the president's deadline for closing the prison at Guantanamo Bay will come and go. The president is still promising to shut it down, but is wary of evidence showing that once prisoners are released, more and more are returning to terrorism. California Congresswoman Jane Harman recently led a congressional delegation to Guantanamo and is also a member of the House Committee on Homeland Security. We'll get to that, to Gitmo, in just a second. Congresswoman, I first want to ask you about this developing story today out of Iran, because we've had the assassination of an Iranian nuclear scientist. The group taking responsibility is blaming unknown U.S. forces. There's always talk there about Israel having been responsible. The State Department has just said at a briefing that that is ridiculous, that that is nonsense. Do we know anything? What can we infer from these developments?
Well, I think the logic here is that the Iranian government or some group associated with them took this guy out. I mean, it's a sign of desperation to start killing your own nuclear scientists. The allegation is that he was close to the opposition, and if as we've all been watching, the Iranian government is in crackdown mode here. It's very sad, very dangerous, very desperate, but I suppose the good news is that there are a lot of cracks here, and hopefully we will transition in some reasonable lifetime to a more reasonable view by Iranian leaders of rejoining the world and a transparent access to their nuclear program, which we all agree cannot be for weapons.
And in fact, there are going to be some discussions, international discussions, as soon as this weekend among the UN Security Council members and the Europeans on that. Let's talk about Guantanamo. You just came back from Guantanamo, and of course we've had renewed controversy over plans to shut it down and return any of these prisoners to places like Yemen, because we've seen them return to al-Qaeda. What is your current position on this from what you've seen?
Well, I led a six-member delegation, 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans, to Gitmo last Friday. It was the first congressional visit in 6 months. Obviously, it was extremely timely. My view is that the Obama administration is right to say we are going to close it down. It is an indelible stain on the U.S. reputation and an ongoing recruiting tool for al-Qaeda and other terror groups. They are frozen with this picture of chicken wire cages. That was the Guantanamo of 2002. Now it's state-of-the-art modern prisons, but what's still wrong with this picture is that we can try and incarcerate these people on U.S. soil. There's no reason to pay the enormous annual fees to have military guards and a whole 2,000-person prison system at the tip of Cuba when we have prison space in the United States. We should live our values, and that means trying and incarcerating these people either by military commission, military tribunal, or federal court in the United States of America.
Now, have you pretty well determined in your own mind that they shouldn't be returned to some of these countries? There was a Pentagon report last week. It said that 1 in 5 released detainees returned to fight. This is one of your colleagues, Dianne Feinstein, speaking, I guess, this weekend on the detainees.
I think at least 24 or 28 are confirmed returns to the battlefield in Yemen, and there are a number of suspected. If you combine the suspected and the confirmed, the number I have is 74 detainees have gone back into the fight, and I think that's bad.
And that was on Face the Nation.
Yeah.
So what do you do? The Illinois prison isn't going to be ready that quickly if it isn't blocked by local interests or politicians in Illinois. So what do you do with them? How do you close Guantanamo and meet your goals and not return them to rejoin al-Qaeda in the field?
Well, let me say first, I agree with Senator Feinstein and other senators on a bipartisan basis that we should not be returning them to countries where al-Qaeda is active. I understand that Spain is taking a few of them in the near term. I support that. I support our efforts to place them in friendly countries where they will be incarcerated and watched closely. With respect to what to do with them this minute, obviously we're missing the January 22nd deadline, but that doesn't mean that in an appropriate appropriate way, we can't move some of these folks to the U.S. We will try 5 of them in New York. I agree with that decision. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is going to be much more uncomfortable in the lower Manhattan Correctional Facility than he is in the 85-degree weather at Gitmo in an air-conditioned cell. So that's a good decision. The administration will have to figure out what to do with approximately 100 to 150 of the 200 remaining detainees at Gitmo, but we will figure it out. And I am for a program over a short term to deal with these folks. They cannot return to the battlefield. I agree with that. But on the other hand, we have to have periodic reviews of their status, and our goal has to be to close this albatross, this stain on our reputation, this recruiting tool for al-Qaeda and terror groups around the world that is called Guantanamo Bay Naval Air Station Penitentiary.
Jane Harman, thank you so much. Great to see you.
Thank you.